Anthony!
And I'm Jimmy!
Holy shit.
And this is chapter 1094.
Oh my god. We're gonna break my eardrums. Alright, so I actually do like the cover art in this, and I kind of wanted to talk about it.
Oh, I was not gonna skip the cover art this week. This is my goat Zoro, and he has all the coolest swordsmen next to him, and Kuina. So
Oh
it's a
my
pretty cool.
god.
No, I actually like
Dude,
Kuina a
what's
lot. I
wrong
think
with
she's
Kuina?
cool.
She just lost to
Nothing,
the
actually.
stairs.
Down
So,
these stairs one again.
who are some of these people? Like, who is the person on the left with the blue hair?
So that's Ushimaru, I think is his name. He was one of
Ushimaru?
the
Oh, okay.
yeah. That might not be his name. I might be lying about that. But he was one of the people in the cave with Yamato. He was
Oh,
one of
okay,
those
okay.
three people. The one that looked like Zoro, clearly.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, to be honest, I don't know who's in the back with the red hair.
Yeah,
But
I don't either. I was
overall,
assuming that some of this was like Shimotsuki clan stuff, like,
I'm
you
pretty
know.
sure it's mostly Shimotsuki. Because I think that's the idea here, is Zoro's lineage.
Right, right. But let's get into the chapter here because there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, this chapter was insane. So we can get into the thick of it because fuck all this filler in between.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Saint J. Garcia Saturn showed his mythical Zoan form, and holy moly, is it crazy!
Dude, he looks ugly as hell. This
I
guy,
think he looks sick.
he looks sick.
He does
No,
look
no.
pretty ugly,
He's just,
but
you know,
that's not the
he's just
Zoan's fault.
grotesque.
That's Saturn's fault.
So do you think? So one thing that immediately I kind of wanted to say just about his power. Somebody's head got blown off. Like, he blew off one of the heads of the one of the Marines, and like the panel right before is just like his eye gleaming. What is that? Like, what can this
Is
guy
that like
do?
some
What are his
telekinesis
powers?
power? Because if it's just straight up telekinesis, that's kind of busted. But I think Oda's just teasing us here, to be honest. I think he did something that moved really fast, but like to the
Yeah, yeah.
random Marines, it kind of just looks like instant like that. But I think next chapter, when we start to see a little bit more of what he does, is going to actually show us that it's not just like, random telekinesis, but like, I don't know, maybe he's shooting something. Like, I
True.
haven't done a lot of research on what he is yet. Like, I know he's a yokai, like the bull spider yokai,
Yeah, yeah.
and
He's
that's
an
about it.
Ushi-Oni is what I've been reading. An Ushi-Oni, which is like this horned creature with 6 legs, spider-like body, in yokai, and apparently it
So,
like its purpose is to go on the beaches and like eat people. Like, I don't really know what to gather from that, but who do you think the other ones are gonna be? Like, if this guy is an Ushi-Oni demon.
so I'm really curious about that, and I don't know fully what I would say each one would be yet. I want to do some research, and maybe this could be another video in the future. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. But basically, I want to kind of go through and align the shadows that we saw before with whoever was like standing at that same spot, so we can kind of get an idea of which animal Zoan relates to which Gorosei. And then on top of that, I want to kind of look through the names and their different titles and kind of match those up with the different qualities of the zone, because I feel like they have to do something like related to each other. So I'm interested in researching that within the next few days.
Yeah, I think it's one of the things that I don't think I've seen anybody point out yet is, and I think maybe St. J. Garcia had this already in his regular panels, but he has a scar on his left eye, and it seems very prominent. That they're focusing on like his eyes and his eye powers, and this is just like a little nod, but I know there's a lot of like slashed eye symbolism, so I feel like this is just kind of like adding to that.
I mean, maybe his powers come, like maybe it does have something to do with his eyes, and someone in the past tried to take away his eyes to stop him from doing something.
Yeah, like, I don't want to get too much into speculation about like their greater purpose and with Emu and like how they got these mythical zones. It looks like he's an awakened mythical zone, right?
He's definitely an awakened. He has the clouds around him. Oda's pretty much confirmed at this point that means awakened Zoan
Yeah,
through.
he's like said it a couple times. So,
But speaking of stuff that's not speculation, Luffy kicking Kizaru's ass in this chapter. Granted, he ran out of Gear 5, but we literally saw Kizaru's internal monologue say, "This isn't good." So like, it's actually not good. It's not
I
him
love
just
that
like
move
fucking
too.
around.
I love when he does that, like the punching. He did it to Kaido and Lucci so far, and now Kizaru.
Yeah, and he's just like punching through their head.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what the repercussions of this are and how badly Kizaru is actually damaged, because that was a blow straight to his head, and he's not using like his light powers. He's not using Haki because, like, I mean, you see it. Luffy's fist is literally
Yeah, this
going
is gonna
through
be a
his skull,
durability feat
and
for Kizaru if he gets up right here, I think.
yeah. But it's also going to be a damage feat for Luffy. The fact that he can actually
Hmm.
like damage like super high tier like opponents now. Where we did see that with Kaido, but it was also like, a weakened Kaido who fought like a bunch of other people. This is like a
For sure.
brand new fresh Kizaru,
Well, now we
and
have.
Luffy's still holding his own.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think Luffy's doing wonders here. Like, I think he's gonna get back up, but it seems to be kind of a scary situation here now with Saint J Garcia overlooking Vegapunk, Frankie, Atlas, Bonnie, and Sanji. They're just he pulled up like I think this is gonna be another situation where like Sanji, you know, early on faces like the big bad. Like he did it against NL, he did it
Mhm.
against Doflamingo, which are both like god
Agreed.
figure characters, and like this is clearly like a god figure character. So Sanji I think is set up to fight right here a little bit at least, but maybe it'll go a little differently than the other times because the other times he got fucking fried. Like against NL he got fried.
Literally.
Yeah, against Doflamingo he had to back off. You know, like it was clear, but you know maybe things will be differently. Maybe do you think Luffy's gonna step up here, or if there's gonna be another entity
Well,
to
I,
like
I
take this
think
guy
Luffy's
on?
gonna be I think Luffy's going to be passed out at least for the next chapter. I don't know how fast he's going to get up from Gear 5. It clearly seems like it's faster than his Gear 4 nerfs. Like against Kaido, he kind of lost it and came back into it.
Hmm.
Against Lucci, right after the fight, he was like old, and then kind of a few panels later was like
So you
himself
think he's
again.
getting like more used
So
to it?
I think he's getting more used to it, and I don't think he's going to like pass out as much. But he also fought much longer here in Gear
Yeah.
5 than he did before, so we'll have to see about that. But I agree. I do think Sanji is going to kind of have his moment here, and I think it's going to be really cool. But one of the things I wanted to bring up, and I just wanted to power scale this a little bit, and I know it's a little ridiculous, but that's the point. Bonnie over here stabs a
I
Gorosei
was gonna
member.
say the same thing.
So,
Dude,
and
Bonnie
like, it's
OP.
not like a
Mythical
surprise
Awakened
attack.
Zone.
Like, Bonnie is literally directly in front of, like, he's staring at all of them, and Bonnie blitzes him, grabs the sword,
Some people,
and
I know this
pierces
is what I
him.
know people are gonna say. And I don't agree with this, but people are gonna be like, "Oh, he said, oh, it's been so long since I've like had to bust out my forearm, and that he was like
And he's like,
weakened or
oh,
whatever."
Rusty.
Dude, fuck that. Bonnie, stab that
But like, he
motherfucker.
didn't even react
He
before.
didn't,
Like,
no.
even if he was Rusty, you'd think like, oh, he tries to react and fails. But like this, she just straight
Unfortunately,
up blitzes
though,
him.
I mean, we'll see how much damage that actually does. I mean, zones are
Yeah,
known to be like pretty
yeah.
bulky.
Regenerate faster. So, and that's kind of why I said it's more of like a joke point, because I know not much is gonna come out of this in terms of the damage done to Saturn. But what I do like about it is that it shows that Bonnie could at least keep up with some of the top tiers. And while she might not necessarily be as strong as Saturn, she
She's out
deserves to
here.
be
She's
like,
out here. She's been doing
yeah,
shit.
she's a
I want to talk
supernova
about.
level.
I
She
want to talk
has
about
like strength.
her near death weapon thing. That thing was cool.
That's a really strong ability. Like the fact that you could just like give someone instant PTSD and they see death
But like, how
itself.
far can
Like,
it go? Like, they've got to state at this point, like, if she could just like straight up kill somebody like that.
I think she can, especially with these like fodder marines.
Like, do you
I
think
think
she's
she can
holding
kind of
back?
push them. No, I don't think she's holding back necessarily, but I think it does, like, in part of it, rely on the person being affected by it. Like, she tried to use this on Luffy, like, and he didn't want it to happen.
Hmm.
He would have the hockey to break out of it. So I think every person has somewhat of a little bit of willpower to kind of affect it, where maybe they don't get all the way to death, but they're like super old. But then I think she can, to some people, like completely overpower them and kind of just like kill them with just like, aging them up.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't think that's going to happen to anybody important.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's probably true. I don't think she's gonna. That's unfortunate because it really would be cool to see her. Maybe a vice admiral or something. But we'll see.
That's what I kind of wanted to see in this chapter, and I thought what was going to happen. I thought either Sanji or Bonnie was going to fight one of the vice admirals, because like they kind of had that little spar for like a second, but then it just kind of ended.
Yeah. I think the vice
No.
admirals just like aren't as interesting, and so they're focusing on like all the big shit. I think that it's gonna be interesting to see. I mean, we're gonna have to cut back to Robin at some point, right? Like, there's so many still questions on this island. Like, where's Robin? There's a Blackbeard
Yeah, this
ship
is like three,
coming.
four chapters
Like,
in a row
you
where we
know,
don't know where Robin is.
we can't forget. You know, there's things in the background. This is an incident for a reason, and this is just part one of many. There's more stuff going on here. Frankie still has to get supposedly some kind of power up. He's protecting Vegapunk here. What's gonna come of Frankie? Where's Kuma? There's so many questions still up
I
in the
think
air
Kuma is
about this arc.
coming, maybe not like this chapter or next chapter, but like like 3 chapters for now. I feel it. Kuma's like he's been on his way for a while. We kind of need to see him because I think this chapter especially is also kind of alluding more towards what Bonnie saw in those flashbacks. Like this chapter implies that Saturn is the one that made the decision to kind of take Kuma's like humanity away, which makes sense. Like he's the Department of like
Yeah.
Science for the government. So I think this chapter is kind of leading up to us finally getting to see that flashback for ourselves.
Yeah, we're gonna need some
And
more context here, for sure.
I think Kuma either needs to show up when the flashback is happening, so like he shows up and then that's what triggers the flashback, or we need to get it before so that his sacrifice that I've mentioned like last week or a few weeks ago matters even more because we know how much he's been through. We see like all of the different hardships he's done. So
Yeah.
I think we're gonna get some pretty cool like flashbacks in the next like chapter or two.
I hope so. I mean, you know, there's just still so much to happen with this arc. Like, I wonder how they're getting out of this sticky situation, and like, they always make it seem like perilous for the Straw Hats, no matter how like hard we think Luffy is, like how strong. Like, dude, he just landed like super passed out right in front of the Gorosei. That's what happened, right? He landed in front of the Gorosei, like with all them, or is he like
I
further
don't think he
away?
necessarily landed with them. I think he was fighting off in like kind of the distance.
Okay.
He's not like super close, but not super far away, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like I think what has to happen is like Saturn is gonna have to go through these people in front of him right now, like the Vegapunks, Frankie, Sanji, and Bonnie. But like Luffy's literally like right after them, like he's right behind them. So I think they're gonna slow him down for a little bit until Luffy gets his Gear 5 back. Then Luffy's gonna kind of come back, make an opening for them, and then they're all gonna run.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I see happening next chapter.
Yeah, I have a question for you. Besides just next chapter, like what is your biggest theory right now? What's your hottest take, biggest theory, as to what is gonna come of this chapter? Like, what do you think the incident's gonna be? What do you think some bombs are gonna be this chapter? Or no, or this
I
arc,
think
you know?
I think I think we're seeing the big incident, to be honest. I think the huge incident is the Gorosei revealing themselves because they kind
Yeah.
of they have us like or sorry, they emphasized it heavily in this chapter where they're like avert your gaze. If you're below this rank, you can't look like and they weren't really saying why. But we know that Morgans is on his way. He said he's like I'm not missing this. Like I'm going to be there for this incident.
I think Vivi's coming.
Like,
I think Vivi's
oh,
totally
I
gonna
think
be
Vivi's coming also, but I think just them revealing to the world what Saturn is kind of like the big
there. That's the
incident.
incident.
I think
Yeah.
I think
That
there
would
is
be an
more. Like I
incident.
think there's gonna be destruction, but I think this reveal is kind of what they've been alluding to.
Yeah. True. Yeah, that's a
And
good point because they're gonna get out of here alive, and then everybody's gonna know. Like they're gonna spread the information one way or another, and then it's gonna be kind of a chase of them hunting the whole government, really hunting down the Straw Hats because they have the information now, and especially
yeah,
Vivi. Like,
and that's why I think they need to go to Elbaf because Elbaf is not affiliated with the government and it's a stronghold. They have strong warriors. They're
yeah.
a warrior
Oh,
race
we're going to
to be
Elbaf.
able to help protect and defend. I mean, we're definitely going to Elbaf and definitely like next. They like teased it,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like maybe they're not going there next because that's what they did with Fishman Island for like 4 arcs, 5 arcs in a row, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see, but I'm really excited. These
Yeah.
chapters have
These
been
have
on
been
fire. And you know what
so
the best
bomb.
part about this chapter was?
Say it.
No break next week. We're going...
Let's go. It's gonna be great. We'll be back here next week. Maybe even earlier. Probably not. But
we'll have to see. But yeah, Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and as usual, fight us in the comments.
Fight us in the comments. If we're not fighting us in the comments, I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know what to tell you either. Peace out.